Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. I'm going to start us off with a few logistical items, provide a quick overview of Index.io, and then we'll dive right into the demo presentation. This will be a 15-minute presentation with time for Q&A at the end. Please hit the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen to type in your questions throughout the session, and we will address them in the Q&A portion. We will be recording this, and a link to the recording will be included in the follow-up email. So as you probably know, the legal world is facing many challenges with electronic discovery: data accessibility, scalability, management, and overwhelming costs, just to name a few. Data continues to increase in size exponentially, and old solutions are failing to keep up. But we can help. Welcome to Index.io, a new horizon of corporate data indexing that takes the latest technologies and creates the most comprehensive and advanced electronic discovery tool in the industry. Built from scratch in the cloud, Index.io is fast, effective, and secure, making it the obvious choice for your electronic discovery needs. Although Index.io covers the full e-discovery waterfront, we deliver way more in value and capabilities. Index.io is a true do-it-yourself intuitive platform. You can get up and running in minutes without ever talking to a sales rep or ever utilizing a project manager. Next, Index.io's auto-scale technology cuts traditional processing times from days to minutes while ensuring quick, accurate results every time. With unmatched search speeds, you always have instant access to the critical items you need for your case. We also offer a free mobile iPad app. With this easy, intuitive, and secure app, you can review, code, redact, and organize your e-discovery documents no matter where you are. Your work is automatically reflected in Index.io, and you're always in sync with your project. And finally, Index.io is the only e-discovery solution that provides a daily hosting model. This allows more predictable billing, easier project management, and eliminates minimum hosting charges. There are no long-term restricting contracts, no licensing fees, no user fees, and no minimums per month. Additionally, there is no software or special hardware to purchase. During today's webinar, Austin, a support representative here at Index.io, will run you through Index.io's advanced admin capabilities. By the end of this tutorial, you have learned how to become a project management pro. Austin?
All right, thanks for that intro, Jess, and thanks everybody for joining us today. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys here, and we'll jump right in. So most of our users probably keep things pretty basic. They'll come into a project, they'll add their data, they'll go through them one by one, review it, and then start an export, kick it out, and they'll have their production ready to go. But if you're more of a power user, or you want a little bit more capability with your project, maybe you're managing a review team, we have some functions that are going to make that a lot easier. And so I'm going to run you guys through some of those today. Once you're in a project, the admin area is available up here in the top left. You just click this admin button. The main page it's going to take you to is just the basic project details. One thing you can configure right up front is if you need your dates for your data to show up in a specific time format, you can come set this before processing, pick a time zone, and it'll automatically convert all of those dates for you. There's a couple other things you can configure in here. One of the new features we just added is this white redaction box. Some people like that as a little bit less obtrusive way to do their redactions rather than the typical black redaction box. This is going to be a white box with a black border and then just a redacted text in the middle. There's also a couple extra services you can add on here. We have Google Translate built in, data enrichment that's going to help you find information about email addresses in your data and give you some more information like social media profiles, names of people, ages, whatever we're able to find. And we also have an advanced audio transcription feature. So if you have that turned on, you're going to get a little bit higher quality audio transcription. It'll actually do video transcription as well. So all of that's configurable in the details area here. You can also delete your project once it's done, or hibernate it if it's going cold for a little bit and you want to leave the data up there, but maybe you want to save on your costs. That'll make it inaccessible. But you do get a much reduced hosting rate and you can reactivate it at any time. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to imagine that we're setting this project up to kind of run a review team through here. So I'm going to configure some user roles for our review people. So you go over to the roles tab here. I'm going to go down. I don't want them to be administrators or review managers, so I'm going to turn those permissions off. And I'm going to set up some of their other permissions here as well. I want them to be able to tag items. I don't need them to be able to add new data because they're just going to be reviewing sets. We'll let them run reports if they need, but I don't want them to download anything. Don't want them to run exports, and I don't want them to be managing batches. That's what I'm in here for. And kind of clean up their view a little bit. I'm going to turn off a lot of these other viewable tabs. I really want them just to come in, see their data set, jump right into it, and be able to get reviewing. So I'm going to turn everything off except for reports. To help clean up their view, I'm also going to immediately just hide duplicate items from them. I'm going to hide any system files that got sucked in. And then I'm going to save this role. And now when we invite users, we're going to invite them as that role. They'll have all those permissions applied, a nice, clean, easy view to jump in and get started with their project. The next thing I'm going to do for them is I'm going to set up this tagging form. So these tag forms are customizable per those roles that we just saw. So I'm going to switch over to the user role. I want them to be able to quickly mark things as reviewed, privileged, and responsive. And we've got a couple other options for these tag fields as well. Maybe I don't want to have just a checkbox for responsive. I want it to be like a radio button, so they have to pick either responsive or not responsive. So all I have to do for that is I come in here and I edit this tag. I'm going to set an inverse for it. That is not responsive. Save it. And then I'm going to get rid of that checkbox, and instead I'm going to drag it out as a radio button. I set that, save it. You can see they can quickly select between those two options and keep them independent of each other. Now that we've set up that tag form, actually I think I want to add one other thing in here. We have this new feature, it's called a text box. So maybe you're going through and maybe you're looking at like medical records and you want to identify the name of people that are on those records. So I'm going to type in name, save it, and now when they're going through, they can type that out as an actual text entry rather than just checking a box. That's a new feature we just added, so definitely take a look at that one if you haven't seen it before. Now that we've got that set up, I'm going to add some users to our project. So I'm going to come over to our user tab here, and I'm going to invite the actual review team. There's one reviewer. I'm going to add another here. Great, so they've been invited. Now once they get into the system, they'll be able to accept their invite, get right into the project. Another thing we have available on this tab is the on-demand reviewer button. And so we've partnered with a couple of review management companies. So if you fall behind in your review, or maybe you just get a project that's a little bit out of your usual comfort zone, you need more people on it than you typically have staffed, you can come in, let us know the dates that you'll need them, how many people you need, and we'll put you in touch with one of those companies. They'll get you a quote. They're all trained in our system, and they can get some info on what you're looking for and get into your project and assist with your review process. All right, so now that we've got some people invited, I'm going to go back to the main project view here. I want to assign some of these batches I've set up. I've got a couple already made. I'm going to look for one other here. I want to find, let's say, any items that have Brian in here. That was one of the reviewers we invited. And I'm going to say that he's maybe an attorney who's coming in to look for maybe communications that he's had. And so he's going to be reviewing that specific set. So I've searched for Brian. I got some results here. I'm going to hit create a batch. We'll call Brian's review. Hit start. It's going to batch up those items for me. So now I can come back here. I'm going to start assigning some of these batches out. So Brian's review, that's going to go to him. And I can set this to specific roles if I wanted. If I wanted all the admins or maybe all of the users to have access to this batch, I could set that. But I just want him. So I'm going to say users Brian at index.io. And he hasn't accepted that invite yet, so it's not going to quite let me do it. Let me switch over to my other role, and you guys will be able to see what this view is going to look like in the project. And then we'll be able to assign that batch to myself. I'm in as this other user. I come to the notifications area. All they have to do is accept that invite. They'll come to their project list. It's going to be available. And you'll see they have this nice clean view. I'm on the home tab. I can look at reports as well. I haven't been assigned any batches yet, so that's all I've got available. But if I switch back to the main view here, Come in, and now I'll be able to assign that batch to these people. All right, so we've set up some batches, assigned them out to some users. One other thing I'm going to show you here is sometimes people want a little bit more functionality with their batches. Just based on these numbers here, it's going to look at the reviewed tag specifically. So while people are going through, they'll have to mark items as reviewed. Then it's going to keep track of these counts and let them know where they're at in their review. Sometimes people want to speed things up a little bit, or maybe they want to track a little bit more than just the reviewed tag. So the way we can do that is I'm going to set up an advanced search. And that's this bar up here at the top. There's the drop down arrow. It's going to take me into advanced search here. So I'm going to look for anything that's tagged as part of that email batch. And then I want to ignore anything that's already been marked as reviewed, anything that's been marked as responsive, privileged, not responsive, any of those tags that we set up on their form. And then I'm going to save this search and call it my review set. So now I've got this search easily available. If I refresh my page here, you'll see it pop up over here on the side under my searches. I can click review set, and it's quickly going to go into that batch, but get rid of anything that I've already tagged. So if they're going through, they don't necessarily want to mark items as reviewed, or maybe they're not sure what tags they're going to be applying. You can have it pull everything out. They'll be able to quickly get back into their main set here. So I'm going to go back to the admin area now and talk about a couple of other things in here. We have a passwords field here. So if you know you're going to have encrypted data in your set when you're adding it, you can actually come in advance, put some of those passwords in, and it'll actually decrypt those in real time while they're processing, and then you'll be able to see the extracted contents during your review. And if you maybe missed those passwords, you didn't see them up front or didn't know that there was some stuff in there, we actually set some of these saved searches up just kind of pre-canned for every project. One of them is password protected failed items. So you can go in and see, I had one spreadsheet that wouldn't decrypt. I didn't know about it in advance, but it happened to be in there. So you could either run a report on that, if I want to run a resource report on all these items, get a list here, and then I can go back through, review that, and it'll tell me which items were not decrypted. You can get the passwords, add them through the admin area, and we'll reprocess that data for you if you submit a request to us. All you have to do is come down here to contact us, hit either live chat or maybe give us a phone call, let us know what you need us to do, and we'll get that data reprocessed for you. There's also a metadata tab here. So if you want to add any user metadata, this is a cool feature if you have your own ID numbers already set up for records. Maybe you want to look at original folder structures if you have that information saved. Whatever information you want to add to these, you can't really edit the original metadata because that's pulled from the documents, but if you want to add some stuff for your own reference, you can set up this custom format load file, drop it over here, and it's going to add that information onto all of the records for you. One other section here is the exports tab, and what this is going to do is when you set up a custom load file for your export, maybe you're looking at specific metadata you want to include to give to the opposing party, maybe you set up your dates in a special way that they had requested. You can come in here, you don't have to recreate those for every project, so I can come in here, look at this other project I've set up, say I want to grab all of these load files, and I'm going to import them into this new project right away. Moving on, there's the audit tab as well. So this is really powerful. If you're a project manager, you can come in and look and see which of your users are doing what. You can see I've been in here viewing resources, executing searches, assigning batches. So it's really easy to tell exactly what's happening in your project and see what all of your team is working on. And then the last tab here in the admin area is remote collection. This is a utility with another partner that we've set up where you can let us know whose computer you need collected, give us their email address, maybe their physical address, and we'll get in touch with them, send them a program to run, and it's going to image their whole computer, and it'll upload it to the project FTP, so you can pull it right in from that server. So it makes it really easy to collect a large amount of data from a specific user. All right, and that pretty much covers our advanced admin tutorial. If you have any questions while you're working in the system, hit this contact us link. We've got a lot of support options here. You can get in touch with us, ask more questions. Jess, have we had any questions come in while the demo's been running here?
Not yet.
No questions? All right. Well, in that case, I guess we'll wrap up here. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll send out a link to this video, and definitely take a look at the tool. We offer free trials if you want to get into the system and try it out. Oh, we did just have one question pop up. Let's see what we got, Jess.
So we had a question come in asking for more information on remote collection.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a tool in the admin area, and this is sort of an ad hoc utility at the moment. You'll let us know some information about the custodian, and then we'll reach out to them. It's just a simple exe file that they'll run. We can configure that in a few different ways if we want to do directed keyword searches, or if we want to image their entire machine. You can send us an email maybe along with this request if you want to do some specific type directed searches. And it's just a utility that they run on their computer. It'll collect a whole bunch of information, anything that the keywords hit, or certain file types, or maybe just their whole machine. And then that gets uploaded to the project's FTP server. We call that the IIO drive. Each project gets their own IIO drive. And it's just kind of a staging environment to hold on to that data while it gets added into the project. But all you would have to do once that runs is come in here, add a new collection, go to the IIO drive, and then that data would be showing up here as part of the upload section. You could select it, add it into the project, and then it's ready to go. So we try to make it as easy as possible to image that whole machine, and it's a pretty cool utility. All right, any other questions, Jess?
Nope, no more questions.
All right, awesome. Well, like I said, we have that free trial. If you've never signed up for an account with us, you get a demo project, add some data to it, take a look, see how the tool works, and let us know if you have any questions. All right, thanks everybody.